He's gonna explain it best he can. It's time to get Lernid with the...
Hey, what's up, Big Earl Northtownsound? This is the Mosky Vol Attenuator. This is the Mosky XP Booster. Where would you use an attenuator instead of a booster? That's a good question. People have been asking me this. I'm going to try to explain. We're discussing boosts, so we're discussing tube amps, so we're running it through the Deluxe. And for shits and giggles today, just because he's calling, I'm going to play Cheetah. But we're going to be discussing where you might want to use an attenuator as opposed to a booster. Exciting, huh? Traditionally, what people would do is they would take a booster, put it in front of a low input headroom amplifier like the Deluxe here, set the amp to clean, and use the booster to get you into gain, right? In this case, we've got, this would be the clean sort of sound. And then we would hit this to be into boost mode. And then you would go back and forth. Obviously the boost on would be like your soloing sound. So, traditional way of dealing with boosters with low input headroom amplifiers. Now, what do I mean by low input headroom amplifier?
A high input headroom amplifier would be, say, a 70s twin, an amplifier that we can put a lot of input signal into and yet it won't reach gain readily. They're clean amps. A low input headroom amplifier, we can't put a lot of signal in before it starts going into overdrive or gain. Things like Deluxes or your AC series. People love these amplifiers because they're nice and gritty sounding. There is a problem, however. If we have a low input headroom amplifier and we slam the input to maximize the amount of gain that we have in it, we run into the problem that we lose any form of dynamic that these amplifiers offer. And because low input headroom amplifiers have tons of dynamics, they're revered for sound. And we're basically destroying it. It's kind of like the compression wars that are happening in music. It should give you a sad.
What we would do with an attenuator is we would set our amplifier at our lead tone and use the attenuator to back off for our clean tone. So I'm going to start with the clean happening here. And then we would kick off the attenuator in order to have our lead or our high gain tone. That can be a huge bonus to certain players, especially if you're playing a low input headroom amplifier like a Deluxe. Since we're cranking the input of the amplifier using the booster, we're losing what little headroom we have. So we lose all of our dynamics. So again, by bringing in the boost, if I start trying to pick softer with that, you're going to hear that I really have next to no dynamic range on this. So when I'm slamming the pick as hard as I can, it's not doing anything. And if I back off, it cleans up. But I can't get that final little push over the cliff, you know? So. It's going nowhere on me. The other issue is, because I have the amplifier set to a cleaner sound, depending on the guitar and the rig, I might not be at a point where I can utilize the dynamics of the amp on my clean sound. So in this case here, I had the amplifier up a little bit more in volume by picking harder, that would be going into overdrive. Right now, it's just barely touching it. In the case of utilizing an attenuator, because we are not slamming the input on the amp, we have all the headroom that this particular amp enjoys, which is pretty awesome for that. So, being a typical Deluxe, I can vary my dynamics and really vary how much gain is coming out of the amp. The thing that's interesting is that with the attenuator, I'm not losing my dynamics when it's on. It's still there if I need those dynamics. So again, this is attenuated, the clean sound. When I'm boosting, I don't have that sort of ability to go back and forth. And you can hear that I have quite a bit wider of a dynamic range because I can play really hard with the attenuator kicked in. So in this scenario, with the attenuator, I've got a wide range of dynamics. I can play really hard with the attenuator on, take it off, back off how hard I'm playing, and you can hear what happens with the overdrive on things. So, wide range of dynamics. Certain genres of music, that's a huge advantage to you. The country guys are going to love that. The kind of bluesier guys are going to love that. If you're playing sort of more open-ended indie pop, that's going to be a huge bonus to you, as opposed to just slamming the input of your amplifier with a booster just to get an overdrive sound. So in a live situation, would the Fat Man personally be boosting up to create extra gain, or using an attenuator to clean up for my clean sound? Frankly, I'd use neither, mainly because tube amps, they drive me up the wall. Trying to shoot this and watch it not want to do this now, I've got a preamp tube that's going microphonic on me here, so I'll try to get it going again. And even if I go into bypass mode on that, now it's not doing it on bypass, but it was doing it. It's part of the reason why I'm on the normal channel, because the vibrato channel was doing it even worse. Tubes, I do not trust them. Get me a solid state amp, let me get all my grit through pedals, the Fat Man's happy. I'm an easygoing guy that way. Okay. So anyways, you just got learned. Boosters, attenuators, and where you may want to use them. Attenuators, mark my words, next couple of years everyone's going to be like, oh, attenuators, I need an attenuator. Get on the bandwagon early, kids. What goes around comes around. Anyways, the Mosky XP booster, the Mosky Vol attenuator, available at northtownsound. Zoom in on the pic, zoom in on the pic. There we go. Big Earl from northtownsound.com. Later.